Hi, my name's Christina and I'm the founder of Dementia Help, and I just thought I would make a short video because I know that when you're a carer you're very busy and you don't always have the time to read blogs and written advice, so I just thought I'd deliver a bit of information on coping with dementia in a slightly different way in this short video. I wanted to kind of just pass on some quick nuggets of information about how to be the best carer that you can possibly be. This advice will help anybody who's looking after a loved one for dementia, but it will be particularly useful, hopefully, for anybody who has recently become a carer and is basically coming to terms with a loved one's dementia diagnosis for quite recently. First thing I would say to you is obviously once somebody has been diagnosed with a form of dementia, it is a great shock to the person and to yourself, obviously, as their carer or their loved one. But once you've given yourself some time to process, the news and the reality of the situation, I would urge you to seek help straight away. The person with dementia, your loved one, they may not need a massive amount of help and support immediately, but unfortunately, dementia is a progressive condition. The person will deteriorate over time, gradually. They will still be independent if they're already independent for a certain amount of time, but unfortunately it does go one way, and as the condition takes hold of them, they will need more help and support. So definitely contact the local council, the local authority, let them know that your loved one has had a diagnosis of dementia and ask them to do an assessment of the person's care needs. And depending on their financial situation, they may be entitled to financial help and support, but certainly they're entitled to that assessment. So that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do, if you haven't already, is to organise lasting power of attorney, or I should say encourage your loved one to organise lasting power of attorney. There's two types. There's health and welfare, which basically covers it looks at the kind of care that they would like to receive or may like to receive in the future. It gives them a chance to have a voice and have a say about how they would like to be cared for in the long term. And this is the one that many people aren't aware of or don't think about, but certainly that's very important. The other one is for property and finance. So that's pretty much speaks for itself, but it's important to get that organised as soon as possible, and a person can actually get that done with a diagnosis of dementia, provided a solicitor is happy that the person understands what they're signing and what it all means, basically. So definitely get those two things done. The third thing is, and this might be a tough one for some people because not all family members step up to the plate when it comes to looking after somebody, but accept the fact that you won't be able to care for the person on your own, particularly if you've got a busy job or a young family or other responsibilities in your life, which we all tend to have. Build a support crew around you. It may not be other family members, or it may be, I hope it is, but if it isn't, have a think about who else can help you. Friends, neighbours, or it could be a professional care agency. When my mum was diagnosed, I spoke to Age UK. I found the helpline very helpful, and they actually recommended that I got a cleaner for mum. They supplied a cleaner which I paid for, and the cleaner was a very nice lady. She came in a couple of times a week and cleaned mum's house, but also it was company for mum, and it was somebody going in and checking up on her. They also recommended to me that I looked into Meals and Wills for mum, which was very effective because she wasn't eating a healthy, balanced diet beforehand. But basically, once she got Meals and Wills, I knew that she was having hot meals every day, nutritious food, etc. So that worked very well. Really, it's about thinking about the kind of care that the person would like and building a support crew around you. I think it's also important to say that you will need help and support, not necessarily always on a practical level, although that's useful, but think about people around you who can provide you with moral or emotional support. Take time out for yourself to look after yourself, whether that's through exercise or just going to the cinema or reading a book. And many carers that I talk to say, that a chance would be a fine thing. But when I was looking after my mum and I stayed with her one time for a couple of weeks after she'd had a fall, I found that I could leave her on her own for 15 or 20 minutes most evenings and go for a jog around the block where she lived. As long as I had a pair of trainers and a sports bra, it was possible for me to do that, and she would quite happily sit there and watch the TV. I wasn't very far, I didn't run very far, I didn't go very far away, but just having that very short amount of time headspace was really important. I would say there's a couple other things I just want to check here, because a lot of this information is based on a presentation that I did recently for the Alzheimer's show. Yeah, attendance allowance, that's something else I wanted to mention. It covers help with personal care for anybody 65 and over, or if they're under 65, it's called personal independence payment. The amounts vary from about £55 a week to £83 a week, although there's different levels of care. And you can apply for that. If you Google attendance allowance, it will bring up the link to the government's website, and it will tell you how you can apply for that money. There's also an attendance allowance helpline number, which I'm going to give you now. I'm going to read it off the screen to make sure I get it right. It's 0345 605 6055. And that's a helpline that's open Monday to Friday. There's also another form of help called NHS Continuing Care, which is free care outside of hospital. It's funded by the NHS, and it's available if your loved one is living in a at home or at a care home. And the NHS, basically, they assess the needs of the person and decide whether or not the person is eligible. Speak to the person's GP or healthcare professional for more information on that. But the payments are fairly substantial, and it's not very widely known. The other thing is, if you are a person who works, if you're in employment, you are entitled to flexible working hours, or you're entitled to request flexible working hours, I should say. Your employer doesn't have to agree to that, but you are entitled, and they do have to legitimately, seriously consider your request and give you a reason for saying no, if that's what they say. You may be entitled to time off for emergencies, or you may be able to work from home or remotely more frequently. Overall, I would suggest that you make a list of all of the person's needs. Have a think about where they are at the moment. A lot of people panic in the beginning and say, oh goodness me, the diagnosis has come through, there's so much to think about. But just have a think about where the person is and what they need right now. But having said that, don't take it too long to think about the long-term future. I would also recommend, if you're going down the route of looking for a professional care, such as a home care agency or a care home, go to the Care Quality Commission's website. That's the CQC. You can find them on Google, and they give a rating to care homes and care agencies, so that's also a very useful thing to do. Hope you found some of this information useful. There is a printed version of all of this information. It's a bulleted PowerPoint presentation, and if you would like me to send it to you, so that you've got a printed copy for reference, I'd be very happy to send that to you by email. All you need to do to get hold of a free copy is email me at christina@dementiahelpuk.com. That's Christina with a CH at the beginning at dementiahelpuk.com. Thanks for watching.